recording.
Yeah, we're live, baby.
Oh, okay.
We're in living color. All this is golden
It's our
footage.
first podcast for the first 1 million subscribers. Who's this sponsored by?
CC's. Sponsored by our favorite coffee.
CC's Coffee.
Cheers.
Salud. There we go.
So how's your day going?
It's going well. Did you have anything you want to talk about? I mean,
Are you gonna do this character the whole time? Are you gonna be a real you, or are you doing a character, podcast character?
I don't know if people want to hear us just rambling.
They do. They definitely do. Trust me, I know the people. So,
Well, you had a big morning this morning, right? You're part of the governor's prayer breakfast. So you had your 3 minutes of fame today.
yeah. So let's come back to that in a second. So let's talk about the podcast for a second.
Okay.
All right. So here's what I was thinking about it, and we can do whatever. We'll
Okay.
see how it evolves. But I was thinking that the chances that we're going to do it and stay actively doing it, like stay with it, are, if it's easy to look at that Ferrari thing.
Shiny ball. Okay.
There's a red Ferrari.
That's it.
Right there. Yeah, squirrel.
Speak!
Hi there.
Did that dog just say hi there?
Oh, yes.
Bruh!
My name is Doug. I have just met you, and I love you. My master made me this collar. He is a good and smart master, and he made me this collar so that I may talk. Squirrel!
The chance that we're gonna keep doing it is if it's just a normal, like if it's not like, oh, the cameras are on and now we have to
Yeah,
be
I agree.
a thing.
I
Like if we
agree.
just be normal people, I think we have, and they'll fix it all. We can fix it we can edit out
Sure.
stuff that's garbage. But I think that the more natural the conversation flow is, that the easier it's going to be
Okay.
for us to. So why are you still doing a character? I think your best bet is just to pretend that the camera is not, that this isn't going anywhere.
Okay.
No one's going to be watching this thing for a while anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to work out the kinks. Like,
Sure.
It's only going to. So, hey, on the way over here, I did have do you have something you want to say about that?
No, I agree with you.
Okay. So on the way over here, I had something that I was thinking about, like one of the segments we could, it doesn't have to be like a structured segment, like a show or anything, but in an effort to get a sponsor, CC's.
Yeah, by the way, have you seen the TNT with Charles Barkley and Ernie Johnson? And Ernie Johnson does his little bit, and then so he does his little bit, and they go, "This is sponsored by," and it says,
Nobody.
nobody.
Yeah.
So,
750.
Presented by no one.
All right. On some.
Yeah, Conan O'Brien, he keeps wearing all this Guinness beer gear in an effort to get Guinness to sponsor his show. But I was thinking, so one of the segments we could do that would just be an easy thing would just be things we love. Like, here's something I love, or things we hate. But
okay.
like just some little random doodads that we love. But all right, so there's a young man that I know that does video editing stuff.
Okay.
So here's what I think is going to be a pain, honestly, about the podcast. So I do think one camera makes it a lot,
Easier.
for sure, a lot easier. And, we can upgrade. I think that maybe we don't do it in the car at some future state. Maybe we do it somewhere else. But I do know that, did I send you that guy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, the high school.
So I talked to him. I talked to him yesterday and just asked him, what he's thinking. And he sounds, interested. Like, we're gonna have to flesh out the, what it's gonna look like. And he's not gonna do it for free.
What would he charge?
Well, I don't know. That's what we have to figure out.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's a conversation to be had. So, I can get somebody to do it for $5 an hour. Now, I'd be willing to pay him, you know, a fair, whatever fair rate, but this would be his first job, I mean, arguably his first job. It is a resume builder for him. I mean, because I could have him work for my company and have him as I would call it a video and operations support specialist, and have him do the editing as part of it, but then he can also help me with some of the scheduling stuff that I need to do.
I did find it interesting how you give something a title. It just sounds
Sounds
good.
You know, so I was just thinking that for him, he's able to do something that he loves, because he's good at it. One, he's very talented at it, and he likes to do it, and so, and he's doing projects right now for free. He's working on projects like pro bono just to
Build up his portfolio.
Yeah, and just to work on his craft or whatever.
Sure.
So I think if he was making money off of these videos, that he'd be thrilled. But I told him yesterday, I was like, look, I can have this work done in the Philippines for $5 an hour. And it's not like, what we're doing is not complicated. You know, like, you're just gonna have to sync video and audio and just some minor editing type of stuff. Like, it's well within his scope of ability, that's for sure. I was like, but you know, we don't need him out here taking B-roll footage. Like, he doesn't, you know, it's not that complicated. I think he's gonna be able to do this work an hour a week.
Yeah.
Okay, so if he's doing this work an hour a week, that's like $7 or $10 a week.
Okay.
To do this, plus the $5, $6 of coffee, unless CC's sponsors us.
So,
You know,
if
so-
we look
so
at
now
4
that-
weeks, we're looking at $20 each.
I don't know. You're the math person. You're the financial
MBA,
advisor.
financial consulting, CFP.
Yeah, I mean,
If you're saying it's
I think we're going to be looking at, $10 a week, so $40 a month at a minimum. Now, I'm going to pay him a little extra. I'll pay him another hour a week myself to help me with some scheduling type of stuff. But that's kind of what I was thinking about.
I mean, to me, $10, $5 of time I don't need to spend is worth it.
Yeah, and it's going to be good
Right.
for him also to be able to do this thing. But so the job description or whatever that I would lay out is like two roles. One is like some very basic appointment scheduling, which we can come back to that. And then two would be the videos. And so for the videos, it's basically all we need him to do at this point, since we're just running one camera, is, you know, snip the front, snip the back. You know, at some point in the future, if we have multiple cameras, great. You know, but you know, at some point in the future, if there's an intro or something, great. Or if there's some graphic, you know, if we wind up talking about something that he's gonna feed in a little picture-in-picture or something like that. Yeah, but I don't think that it's gonna take him more than an hour. Definitely not. I don't expect him to take more than 2 hours. Now, what he said was, it depends on the length of the footage too. He's like, if you run an hour long, 2 hour long segment, well then, depending on the complexity of the cuts.
I mean, I think starting out, I don't know if we could go longer as far as material, 30 minutes.
That's fine.
I mean, until we get a rhythm of what we're talking about. You know, who wants to hear you and I talk, you know, over 30
I think
minutes?
that they do. I think that's the beauty of it, is that the stuff, because I mean, the stuff that we are thinking about, there's
Sure.
6 billion people on the planet, and there's some percentage of people that are thinking about the same stuff as us.
All right, so let's start with that. What are you thinking about?
Well, I'm thinking mainly about this podcast right
Okay.
now, just because that's what the topic of the day is. So I think that in a future version of this, we could easily have a camera over there aiming on me, a camera over here aiming on me,
You'd probably get the bigger
a camera over
bigger
here
camera for you.
aiming on me.
More budget spent on your camera. I got a little tiny camera.
Right, grainy.
I think that's Ray.
Yeah, over there. You can edit it out.
Just everything Ray says. Just
No, I was
For
thinking,
my voice.
You know, we could have a camera over here. You know, pointed at one of us, a camera over here pointed at one of us, and a camera out front pointed at both of us, and then that would give the video editor some variety of
Sure.
camera to shoot to. You know, like when I'm talking, they cut to me. When you're talking, they cut to you, and occasionally they could sprinkle in both of us talking or
Yeah.
whatever. You know, it doesn't matter. So I think when we get to that point, you know, maybe it takes him 2 hours a week of work, but I think we just kind of start where we're at now, and just kind of see where it goes.
Episode 1, going strong.
We're off to a great start.
No, I like it. You just got to do it, right? I mean, we're just trying to figure it out like everybody else.
All right, so here is so on the business stuff. So what I'm learning about myself is that there's things that I like doing, and there's things I don't like doing, and all in between. But what I know that I'm good at, and I actually prepare for, and I don't procrastinate, is when I have a meeting with a real person. Like today, I was meeting you here, and so I'm like early. Like, and it's not, I wouldn't say it's easy for me, but it's enjoyable for me.
Right.
Like to prep for this is enjoyable to me. But all the other stuff is, not that it's not enjoyable, I just don't do it. I just procrastinate it or push it off. So I was gonna ask him, you know, one of those thought exercises or whatever I did was, if you had $100 million and it was a random Tuesday, what would you be doing with your life? And what I would be doing would be having coffee with a friend, or having lunch with someone, or spending more time with family. And so what I'm gonna ask him to do is help me to just send the initial email outreach to people that I want to have a cup of coffee with at whatever frequency, you know. So you know, like let's say Jason, right? So the reality is, I'm not gonna have a cup of coffee with Jason every single month, but if I had a cup of coffee once or twice a year with Jason, that would be a big success
Sure.
for me, right? And there's a bunch of other people that I would love to maintain the relationship with. I just don't take the time to send that initial email. So I
Yeah.
figure if I can get him the list, well, he can start doing that initial outreach and just start scheduling the appointments.
Yeah, and I think most people feel the way you do, especially as you get busier with, you know, family stuff, doing stuff for work, that you want to keep in touch more with your friends or people you care about or whatever, and you just don't, because you're like, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll schedule it tomorrow, and then tomorrow turns into months. So that's a good one. The exercise is good, but two, to be mindful that, hey, there's relationships I want to be investing in, and I enjoy hanging out with them, and just schedule it. I think that's a great idea.
So what about you? What are you thinking about?
What am I thinking about? Well, when you presented that question to me about if I had $100 million, what would I be doing differently? And I feel like today has been a good day to reflect that. I had lunch with my brother-in-law, Micah, which was awesome. And then you and I are hanging out drinking coffee. I mean, that's a win for me. So that's one thing. Another thing I'm thinking about is, you know, just kind of the state of the world. You know, I'm really involved in, you know, reading social media, Twitter, whatever it may be, and just seeing how angry people are. Like, people are just so angry about everything and everything. I don't know if you read that story about Chris Pratt. You know who Chris Pratt is?
I know who he is.
He was
funny man.
yeah,
on
Jurassic
TV.
Park and Guardians of the Galaxy. Well,
Parks and Recreation.
yeah, that's right. You know Kevin Smith? He made the movie Clerks.
What about the Bob, Jay, and Silent Bob?
Yep. So he had a heart attack, massive heart attack, almost died. So Chris Pratt goes on Twitter and says, "Hey man, speedy recovery, praying for you." And then he gets all this hate that he's praying for Kevin Smith.
Just because people are lashing back at that thoughts and prayers stuff right
Just
now.
that Chris Pratt's thinking about him and praying for him. And just
But what's the backlash? What are they upset about?
that, you know, they just think it's ridiculous he's praying. They think, probably to your point, the thoughts and prayers, they just don't see the power of
Is
prayer.
Kevin Smith an atheist or something, or
I don't know what he is.
it's not really relevant?
I mean, it means a lot to me if you said, "Hey, I'm praying for you."
Sure.
So just stories like that,
But why do you think that people are so?
One, I don't think people believe in the power of prayer. And it goes back to, do you believe that God exists? Do you believe that God desires an intimate relationship with you? Do you believe that God hears you when you pray? I mean, it all boils down to what you believe. So I think their value system is going, all these shootings, people keep saying thoughts and prayers, and they don't see any results. And then it goes back to what do you think about prayer? And do you think God is going to hear what you're saying? I mean, I believe he does. But I'd say the people that are probably attacking Chris Pratt are saying, this thing prayer is just ridiculous. Like you're talking to it's like praying to, I don't know, Santa Claus.
Yeah,
So-
but are they responding like they're offended that he's praying?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So I mean, I think what I think about is I see that kind of stuff, and it baffles me, one, and then two. I mean, you and I have kids. It's what's the world they're going to grow up in? What does it look like? Is it
But don't you think that every generation of parents like thought about that? I mean,
they do? But I think the level of darkness we see now.
but don't you think that every generation thinks that, oh, this is so dark?
I think they do.
Think about how dark it was with the Hitler stuff rolling through Europe. Like,
Sure.
I mean, that was pretty dark.
Yes,
I mean, that was pretty dark.
I would agree.
So, like, I think we say, oh, it's so dark now. But, I mean, how dark? I mean, the Holocaust was happening. The whole world was at war for the second time in a row. Like, that was pretty dark days. I just think that I'm not saying that our times that they're not some dark times.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that I just wonder if you rewound the clock or if you fast forward the clock, there's been some pretty dark times in history, and I'm not sure this is the darkest night of them all.
Right.
I mean, if I think about big world events, all right?
Oh, so let me interject here. So let's say Kaylee's 12 years old, and she wants to go ride her bike to her friend's house that lives a couple miles away at 7 o'clock at night. Would you let her?
No, heck no.
I mean, I used to do that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So that tells me that at least there's an awareness. People are more,
Yeah, with that one thing. But in a lot of other things, I mean, she doesn't have polio either.
Sure.
But so that's a different thing. Like, oh, our
I mean,
kid's going to get polio.
Yeah. Well,
But I'm with you. Like, no, I wouldn't, because I think that the times that we live in right now are sketchy
sure.
to where I don't think that, and for me, that would make me nervous. But again, we don't have I think that's just the season that we're in. That's just this time period
Right.
that we're in.
Right. I think you bring up a good point. That maybe because you see it online, it feels like it's just darker times. But if we take a step back and go, I mean, we got a pretty good life.
Yeah,
Right.
or 9/11, the right post 9/11. I
Sure.
mean, that's some pretty dark,
Yeah.
times. Which, okay, so on that topic, you went to Afghanistan. What's your opinion on us being in nonstop war in Afghanistan? Like, this is 17 years of nonstop war. We don't even talk about it anymore. It's not even in the news hardly
Sure.
anymore. We have active military operations still going on in Afghanistan.
I mean, I feel like the war on terror is like the war on drugs, right? I mean, it sounds good to be fighting the war, but drugs are still rampant. It's like you don't really. I don't know how much you're really bringing change. I think we're so involved over there that if we just uproot and leave, that all the work that's been put in will dissolve. But it's a financial burden. I mean, so I don't know. I mean, I feel like I don't really know what the mission is. I guess I'd say that.
You think Trump is going to, Obama said that they were going to end all that, but do you think Trump is going to actually bring the troops home, or he's going to just keep it rolling?
I mean, I think if the mission is clear, I mean, I think he's about stopping the war on terror, destroying ISIS. So, I mean, as long as that's happening, I think he'll stay out there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just don't know how you're going to ever stop these little just one-off, like deranged, like this school shooting thing, like this one-off deranged thing. And the NRA and guns are all
Sure.
up in arms right now. But that France attack was the dude had a van. He just ran over people
Yeah.
in a van.
Yeah.
So it's like, to me, I don't know what to say about all that, except that it's not like you're going to pass some law. I mean, I don't think you throw up your hands and say, well, we don't do anything about
Right.
it. But I think if you ban the bump stocks or ban assault rifles or whatever, you still rent a van at Enterprise or Hertz Rent a Car and mow down people at a Mardi Gras parade or something.
Right.
So I don't know.
No, I agree with you. I mean, I think that it feels right to do something, right? I mean, these kids are getting killed. You're like, man, we got to do something, and you'll do something, and the evil person there'll be another evil person doing something evil, and and I don't know if you've been paying attention, but they said the systems were in place already to stop this guy, right? So there was like 40 something warnings
Oh.
that this dude was crazy, and it was things on YouTube saying he was the next school shooter, and nothing was done. And so you can put in all these rules and regulations and laws, but if they're not followed.
Okay, so when's the last time that you flew on a plane?
When was the last time I flew?
Because I think about this every time that I go through the TSA, when they're making me take my shoes off and all this. It's like, okay, we're gonna do all this monkey business, for what? Because one guy tried, one shoe bomber dude who didn't even succeed, and now every single grandma in here has got to take their shoes
Yeah,
off.
it's
crazy.
it aggravates when I bring my thing of toothpaste and I forget to take it out of my hygiene bag. Like, oh, it doesn't pass the container amount, so you got this brand new thing
throw
of
my toothpaste
my
away.
toothpaste
Right.
away, or my freaking cologne.
I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, so you want to hear about the news this morning, the WBFB, or you have something you want to finish?
No,
up
I'd love
that
to hear about that
topic?
experience. Which, by the way, from what I saw, I was very proud.
Good.
You did good,
Well, we prayed about it ahead of time, so
and I think it'd benefit if the guy helping us with this, you could put that video in there so you can see what we're talking about.
maybe if we get a good copy of it. So I volunteer with the Governor's Prayer Breakfast. I'm on the steering committee, and so I'm the co-chairman this year. And so one of the requests is that in helping to promote and market the Governor's Prayer Breakfast, there's an opportunity to get to go on the local news station, WAFB, to sit in on the morning show and do it, which it's a 3-minute segment, so it's 3 minutes.
Right.
It's
You
not-
got there. What time did you get there?
So we got there at 6:30.
Okay.
Now, we were supposed to go on at 7:15.
Oh, I was watching.
Okay, yeah.
7:15 sharp.
Came and went. So we were supposed to be on at 7:15. They asked us to arrive 25 minutes early, but me and Gary, the chairman, we're nervous. We don't want to miss it. We're trying to get there on time. So we got there. I got there at 6:30. Gary, I think, was there like an hour ahead of time. When he showed up, they were like, why are you here? And so I'm nervous. And so when I walk in, now Gary's been there for a while. When I walk in, he's real calm. He's real calm, cool, and collected. And I'm pretty nervous and tight. And so the thing that makes it interesting was all the news personnel, this is just another day at the office.
Yes.
Right. So they're coming in, just getting coffee. Hey, how y'all doing? Like it ain't nothing to them to be on TV. And they were all very consistent with like what the personality you see on TV and what they were off. Like they were all very like they weren't playing a character on TV as Mr. Newsman or Newswoman. They were just being themselves on TV. But so then we're supposed to go on at 7:15. The guy comes in to mic us up or whatever, and there's 3 guests on the show this morning. There's a nonprofit guest that's coming on to talk about a Night for Hope, which is a event here in Baton Rouge, and then there's us to talk about the Governor's Prayer Breakfast, and then there's these 2 nice old ladies that are talking about their group, the Dulcimers. Did you watch it?
No. Once your time, your 3 minutes of fame were done. I had to get ready.
Okay, so a dulcimer is like a lap guitar type
Okay.
of thing. Anyway, so when the guy comes in, there's a lot of commotion, and he starts miking up these Night for Hope people, And he asked us when we were supposed to go on. We told him 7:15, but there was so much distraction that it's just like he wasn't hearing us, or it was too much going on for him to do. So when they put the Night for Hope people on, it kind of threw the show for a loop, because they had all of our stuff loaded, like all of our.
So you were supposed to go before.
We were supposed to go at 7:15.
Okay.
And so when this other group goes in, well, they don't have the other group's stuff queued up. They had our stuff queued up, like the visual slides, or what, like like they had these billboard type slides that they were going to show, and the date and the time. So they didn't have their stuff queued, and they had our stuff all loaded in there. And so the news crew was a little agitated at that, but it was no big deal. And then things went long. So another funny thing is there's a whole bunch of monkey business going on behind
That nobody sees.
that nobody sees.
Yeah.
So they're on set talking to the camera, and behind the cameras are the other news anchors, and they're doing all sorts of funny. They're just cutting up, like, you're going too long, like, and some of it's real. They're real signaling, and some of it is just they're messing with their friend on camera.
Oh, really?
Yes. And so all of that was helpful to reduce the nerves level. So it went well. We just tried to focus on. So there was 2 bits of whatever advice that. So one bit of advice was just talk to the guy interviewing us was Robbie. They said just focus on Robbie. If you just talk to Robbie and tell Robbie, don't worry about the audience. Don't worry about talking to this audience of whoever's watching.
Hundreds of millions of people.
Yeah. Whoever's watching WAFP. They said just focus on talking to Robbie. So that helped. And then the second was, before we went in, we kind of talked and prayed about that, the camera's going to be on us, but that we just want it to be a good representation of Jesus and a good representation of the governor's prayer breakfast. And that we just didn't want to make a mistake or do anything that would bring any kind of, shame or disappointment or, whatever. Not humor, but negative humor.
Sure. So the guy...
No kind of embarrassment to the governor's prayer breakfast or to Jesus.
The guy asking questions, do you know the questions he was going to ask beforehand?
No, they were freestyle. So,
Okay.
So, we gave them 5 talking points that we were going to talk about, and then, but they were to ask the questions. So we didn't give them questions, and we didn't know what questions he was going to ask, nor did we know who he was going to ask. So then you've got that dynamic. It's like me and Gary. And so I just told Gary before we went in, I was like, Gary, let's just take the approach that you're going to take all the questions that he says, hey, Gary, do this. And if he asks me a question direct, well, then I'll answer it. Or if he asks a question, just kind of floats a question out there to both of us, I'm going to default to let you, he's the chairman, to answer.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to answer, or you think that's a better thing for me to answer, well, then you're going to be closer to the host. You just turn your head and look to me if that's something that I prepared for to answer. Because my job was to introduce the speaker and the music. So that's kind of what we had both prepared for, both sets of talking points, but my main 2 talking points were the speaker and the music. So
when you say prepare, I mean, were you two going back and forth asking the question, and how would you answer?
Me and Gary?
Yeah.
No, it was me and Brandy and Gary and his wife.
Okay.
Doing it on their own, and then, which was funny too, because I had prepared. The way you prepare it in your mind is never the way it goes.
Yeah.
So the first thing that Brandy asks is, she says, well, what is the governor's prayer breakfast? Well, that's easy, so I can tell her what it is. And then she said, well, what should someone expect if they come to the governor's prayer breakfast? And I was just frozen. And it's easy but that was not part of my script. It was you asked me a question that wasn't part of my script, So it did help to go through that.
Yeah.
Then when Gary was prepping with his wife and asking her, his wife said, you said that you're excited like 10 times. Do you remember that video of Tim Tebow at the Jets?
No.
Okay, so Tebow, they've got Tebow, I think he's with the Jets, and they're filming him, and his talking point is, I'm just really excited to have a chance to play with the Jets.
I'm so excited about being a Jet, so excited about meeting my teammates, and I'm very, very excited. I was really excited about that. All right, I'm excited. I was excited, and that was exciting for me. So I'm excited to be a Jet, and I'm excited to be here. I think the exciting thing, that would be exciting for me. I think it's just exciting. I'm excited about the opportunity. He was excited. He's excited about working with me. I'm excited about working with him. I'm excited about that opportunity. I'm excited. I'm excited about the opportunity, and I'm excited about my future. How exciting it is. I'm excited to be a Jet. Excites me. I'm excited, and that was exciting. He's just excited that I'm here. Just excited, and I'm excited about this opportunity. It would have been exciting. This is exciting. It's exciting for me. Excited about that. You know, I guess they are pretty excited. I'm excited, and that's exciting. And I'm excited about being a Jet. Excited about the support that I have here. It'll be exciting to watch, and I'm excited about being a Jet. I'm just excited to be here. I'm excited about it.
Every time he said I'm excited.
Well, it is interesting when you get nervous, right? You get these like little ticks, right? You do certain things that you normally don't do when you're not nervous. So it's good that you prepared, because for at least me watching and knowing you really well, you did a good job. I could tell you prepared.
Yeah. So then when the cameras were off, it's almost like you're shell shocked to a certain degree. Like I had to watch the video to really remember how it went, you know, because you're just like in this little tunnel vision. But I was just trying to be still. Like I had put my hands on the desk. Like I was just trying to be still and not wiggle around a whole lot.
That's good. I mean, you were like, your posture was strong. You were, like.
Oh, and so another thing is you had to stand on this little box. There's no chairs. So, you know, the desk is, you know, waist high, but you had to step up onto this little, like tiny little platform. And he said, you don't have to stand on the box. So the people that went before us did not stand on the box, but they're standing behind the box, and so they're like leaning up on the table. You know, and I don't know, I would stand on the box. Everybody else is standing on the box.
Yeah.
One thing that was also distracting was while I was talking to the host. Well, he's looking at the camera. He's not really paying attention.
Yeah.
I mean, he's halfway paying attention, but he's kind of like producing, because he's like shot calling the show.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was distracting, but apparently it went fine. We got good feedback from everybody.
So you forgot what it was like. You watched the video. What was your take on the way you did on the video? Because usually we're
you're
our
always
biggest
hard
critic,
on yourself. I mean, there was a few things and ums, you know, things like that, but all in all, it's such a short segment that there's not really a whole lot of time for you to mess up.
Yeah, let's go to the tape. We got 3 minutes worth of tape on Charlie.
Yeah,
Go study our enemy here.
I was glad we had prepared.
Yeah.
I was glad that I felt like we were both well prepared. I'm glad that, you know, we didn't get a flat tire on the way to the studio. It's like, you know, we didn't spill coffee on our shirt.
Yeah.
Just the little things, it all went well. But I mean, I know a lot of people were praying for it, and I know sometimes it feels silly to ask prayer for something so small, but it's not small to me. I've never been on TV before.
Yeah.
So it was nerve-wracking.
Well, when you get opportunities to represent Jesus, I mean, like you said earlier, you want people to see Him through you, right? So I think it's great. I mean, whether it's big or small, I mean, one, it's important to you, but two, back to what we were saying earlier, I believe in the power of prayer. I mean, I've seen it work in my life. So if the situation was reversed, I'd be asking you to pray for me.
Yeah. And I do feel like, you know, all the prayers and encouragement, but that people prayed for us helped things to go so smoothly, helped us to, you know, just all the little details that had to take place, you know, to make that happen. And honestly, if you would have told me 3 years ago that, you know, I would be doing that segment, I would I would have laughed.
Yeah.
Because it just seemed, outside. It just seemed so far outside. I told Brandy when I got home, it reminded me of that verse that he's able to do more than you can, exceedingly more what you can even think of.
Yeah.
Like, we would have never thought that we're going to be on a news show, talking about these things, or that this nonprofit that we're working with, CEF, is the president of CEF is going to be talking and working hand in hand with the governor of Louisiana. Like, if you'd have told us that 3 years ago, we would have laughed.
Something that struck me, I mean, you and I have been friends for a long time. I mean, I'm trying to think here. It's been, how long have we been friends?
So I had to fill out some paperwork on a friend of ours recently who needed a reference, and they asked, how long have you been friends? And we tallied up. It was 18 years. Our friend in Houston.
Okay.
18 years.
So we've been.
So that's that's probably that length.
So a long time. And so one of the things that just kind of struck me is just seeing, we know each other 18 years ago, and now it's like I'm looking at my friend matured. We joke a lot, but to see how much you matured and how you are representing the Harper brand really well.
I guess I should have put it on airplane mode.
That's all right.
If you're gonna get a phone call.
Let's check the time here.
1:45.
What else?
I don't know. What else? How is the ramp up with work going?
It's good. I've had, things are. It takes a while. I mean, transitioning from one state to another and just getting myself integrated into the community and meeting people. But it's, 1 week you have like one meeting, the following week you got 2 meetings. So each week it builds up a little bit more.
So when you were in Texas, were you getting business from your personal network, or was it from all the marketing type events and things that y'all were doing?
Yeah, primarily that.
Yeah.
It was interesting. I didn't really get, and I don't know if I got some business from my network, but a lot of it was just from the marketing we did.
Yeah. So have you started getting any referrals from the accounting firm?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And starting to have those initial conversations with the people.
Yeah.
It's a good sign. Huh?
Yeah, it's a good sign. So, yeah, I think it's going good. And then just got the benefits of being back home. You can link up with your buddy at CC's Coffee and try to do a podcast.
No trying. We're doing it. So what else?
Trying to think here.
What'd y'all do Friday? What'd y'all do?
Friday, we had dinner with family.
Oh yeah, Saturday. What'd y'all do?
We celebrated my sister-in-law's birthday at her house.
And Sunday, church in the morning.
We did not go to church. Forgive me, Lord. We did not go to
Do
church.
you think he's watching?
I think he is. Please pray for me. We did not go to church, which one of the things we're trying to do is find a church. I mean, I think I shared with you, we went to a new church last week and met the pastor. Thought it was great, but the congregation was like really young, like probably early 20s. Here I am, nearing 40, so I felt a little out of place. But so we didn't go to church this weekend, and then you and Brandy and the kids came over, and I was really, believe it or not, I was thankful to see the chaos that little kids cause. Like you got toys everywhere. You got our sons getting into it, which was funny, but it was good. Transitioning from Texas, where we had a church home, good friends, lived in a great community, to come into Baton Rouge, even though we're from here, it still feels like it's new. Like we're trying to reestablish all those things. But it was nice just having you guys just pop in. Like that's, I think, one of the things one of the things you imagine will happen when you come back home, and it's it is happening. So that was really cool. And then and then back to work, man. about you guys? I mean, I know you came to our house Sunday, but
We had daddy-daughter dance at school Friday night, which was fun. And then we had mother-son dance at the school Saturday night, so that put me with the girls. So it was me and the oldest girl Friday night, and then it was me and both the girls Saturday night. And we went out and did root beer floats and root beer and ice cream, which was fun. And
Brandy had fun.
yeah, they had a good time. It sounded like the boy event was a little wilder than the father-daughter event, but it was good. Then we had church on Sunday, and then we had a little birthday party.
In Denham.
We had a little birthday party for a cousin in Denham, and then we dropped in at y'all's house, which was fun, although we felt bad about the busted lip incident.
Well, I think that's how boys learn to get along. So, one of the things I thought I really enjoyed watching you, and it was hard to keep a straight face, was your kind interrogation of Luke and Everett. You know, it was interesting to see, like, asking questions like, okay, so then why is there a bite mark on his hand? Who did that? But I don't think either one really told us what happened. Like, I don't think we have the full picture.
So, from what I pieced together,
Yep.
they were playing in the yard. Everett had the little plastic gun, a little Nerf gun. They were playing in the yard, and it started with some unkind talk. Oh, I'm better. No, I'm better. Oh, yeah, well, I don't like you. You know, oh, you're not my friend. And somehow they started wrestling around, like pushing and wrestling around. And then Luke got a hold of Everett's hand and bit it. And then Everett cranked him in the mouth with that gun. And that's when it all broke loose and we heard it.
So with that, like, Luke's not one to say, you know, I'm better. One of the things he does say all the time is, "You're a bad guy." I feel like Luke's just, he's not like calling him a bad guy. Just like, you know, we're playing. You're the bad guy. I'm the good guy, or vice versa. So I think that it probably started. You're the bad guy. Everybody probably said, "Well,
yeah, no telling." But that's kind of how it. What it sounded like, how it escalated is that they started with words, and then they started kind of pushing around, and then I don't know who hit who first, but eventually Everett got bit, and then the last thing was he punched him in the mouth with that.
There's a noticeable size difference with your son and my son, and so, you know, Luke has to learn. Both of them need to learn. So
yeah, it was.
Well, people, if anybody watches this, probably report me for being a bad parent when our sons beat each other up.
I mean, we stopped it as soon as we knew what was going on. We addressed it.
Well, there was blood involved. Fortunately, all the teeth are still in place.
Yep. So what's the plan for the rest of the week?
Rest of the week, so exciting things happening. Luke's in soccer. He has soccer practice tomorrow. And then we have his first soccer game on Saturday. So that'll be exciting. I think experiencing things like that with your kid, you know, this is the first sporting event that I've gotten Luke involved in, and be able to see him play soccer and get put on his little outfit, and it's been a lot of fun. Now it is 4-year-old soccer, so it's not like you're watching Messi versus Ronaldo out there, you know. There's that. We got some stuff going on with work, and that's really about it, man.
Are you going to do any marketing events, like the dinner, you know, like the steak dinner or whatever? Y'all come sit down for a seminar on such and such. Did you reach out to the colleges locally or anything to start that?
So that's available to do. It's almost like I have it in my back pocket if I want to implement it.
Start that process.
So far, I don't see that need yet. You know, it's. I think we have it seems like enough opportunity, but if I need to generate more business, well, then I can go that route. But I'm just using the marketing that's available through through legacy.
That's good. What do you want to do on the video editor thing? You just keep moving that forward with the.
I mean, I don't want to. I really don't want to edit the video.
Me neither.
I'd rather pay somebody to do it.
Yeah, I mean, especially, and I think it is a unique situation that we know the person, we know that they're, way skilled to do it. I told him, I said, one of these guys we used to watch that me and him connected on, this guy Casey Neistat, who does all these videos. I said, okay, if Casey Neistat is a 10 on skill level, 10 for 10 on skill level, where do you think you're at? And he's like, I don't know, 6 or 7. I was like, I would agree. I was like, what we need is like a 2. Like, you're well above what we need. Like, you're at this is well within your scope.
Sure.
And so it could be good for him, but there's a financial cost involved, and so we have to figure out, what does that entail. So here's what I would, I can get this work done in the Philippines $5 an hour.
Okay.
Okay. But what I would propose is that he's 16 years old. This is his first job. It's a good job for him. It's a good title for him.
It's experience on a resume.
It's good experience. What I would propose is that we pay him minimum wage, which is more than what we would pay to have the work done in the Philippines.
Yep.
And that we set it for a term, like a
90 days.
Yeah, I mean, and then we press the reset button and figure out what we want to do. So for his life, we've got a term of from now until school ends. He's 16 years old. From now until school ends, which is May, whatever. So that's like 2 months. And then you've got summer, which is wide open. He'll have all the time in the world summer, and he can do whatever, we wanted. Although I don't think we would necessarily need more work in the summer just because it's summer. But what I was thinking was maybe we set the agreement or the commitment level that we're going to do podcasts through a certain time period, and that he will be the video support person for that same time period. And then we'll have a discussion when we come to the end of that, where we can either, just like the Bible study strategy, like where we can re-up and do another 6 months if we want.
We all have outs. We can all say this ain't working.
And say, hey, we met our commitments. So we could set a shorter commitment, like just now to the end of school, the end of the school year, from now till
basically
whatever.
90 days.
May 15th. That is one thing. Or we could do a longer one, and we could try to lock it up from now till the end of summer, like now till August.
Well, let's see how this goes, us doing this for 90 days, and is it working? I think 90 days is just a good measure, and if it's going great, we just keep going.
And you're good with the 7 or $7.25 an hour or whatever it's going to be?
For now, I am, yeah.
Okay.
All right, I gotta go use the bathroom. My bladder's about to explode.
I went for 40K.
Edit that out. I did see you walking. All right, we good? Anything else?
I'm good. That's it.
All right. Round 1 done. Episode 1.